How's it going? This is David Blade Banter. We're going to bring you specifications you can relate to so you can have an educated decision on your purchases. Haven't had a Tuyaknife on the channel for a while. These are going to be two from Jim Skelton. So the Caladan came out first, and the Scaphoid, if I'm saying that right, came out second. So now Dave Warren over at Tuyaknife was nice enough to send these along just to check out. So that's where all that happened with that, and not being paid for it, not anything else, but just being able to check it out, see what's going on with Tuya. Dave Warren used to be the one that you could actually get the knives from right off the bat. So he was the actual exclusive dealer for them. And then now you can get them a few different places. The DLC has a little bit of a smudging, so I'll get that cleaned off, but that's where you used to be able to only get it from Dave Warren, and then now it's available at other dealers, but he still sells knives, so you can go right over to the website, but we can check out what we have over at Jim Skelton's site for the knife. So that's the Caladan. That's going to be the V2 for $280. So this one still is in stock. Some of the other ones with the frag pattern have been sold out. This is an S90V for the blade steel. So going over the Tuya site, now so the Caladan on the Tuya side of things, there are a whole bunch of different options available, but I do not see this one. So there's a 1720G for the one that I have, and it's not even listed here. So it might be just direct on Jim Skelton's site for this variant. So there's going to be DLC coded for the blade, titanium S90, 280, and then we do have the Scaphoid. That's going to be $299 on this site. I think it's a little bit less on the Tuya side of business. Nope, same price. So Tuya is going to be the same price for this one. And then you can see how it looks in the pocket as well. So there's going to be how they ride. So you're going to have the Caladan Scaphoid. So that's going to be the clip style that he went with. It does look similar to what they had on some of their older models. So this is one that they had before on, it's like an $89 knife. So that's going to be this one. So it's kind of similar to the look of it. There's a little bit different milling on the ones that are on his knife, but I feel it has a similar feel, similar mounting for that pocket clip. But it is good. It works well, comes in and out of the pocket well, and then also it does have a style to it. It's still not going to be deep carry for anybody that wants deep carry, but it is going to be one that looks nice. So that's going to be the setup for those guys. Also, does come with these containers. So you do have this type of box, and that is going to come in. So you can use that for your knife or for this one to carry around with. And it's going to be a good kind of water resistant. I don't know if it's waterproof, but it does have the little ring around it. Clips down closed. So it is a pretty nice setup. Between the two, they are from the same company for Tuya, but they have different builds. So overall, I say that the Scaphoid is better in finish. The Caladan, it was supposed to be built for really that real comfort level. Both these are based off of fixed blades that he has. But this one is a little bit better fit and finish wise than the Caladan from my perspective on it. And I'll walk you through and I'll put it under the microscope too so you can see it a little bit better, because a lot of times it's hard to see in this setup. But DLC is a really nice finish. I like it quite a bit, but it is very fingerprinty. So you just touch it a little bit, you're going to get just fingerprints on it, but it is a very durable material for diamond-like carbon. And then you do have these type of frag pattern, and these aren't too aggressive, so it does work really well in the pocket. But just starting off, I mean, with some of the build things that I don't really care for is just how this radius happens. The pivot isn't actually flush, so it has kind of a drop down right in this section. And I'll show you how to put it under here so you can see that just a little bit closer within the microscope side of things. So let me get that set up. Sorry, this front section, that is not flush. It's not really easy to see there. But just has a lot of kind of sharp points. So even here, you do have that sharp edge that's on the frame side, not the actual bar. So the bar they actually went and chamfered, but the frame side they did not. And then also going to be for the lock bar relief. That's going to be on this side. So this is also fairly sharp in these locations. So within that ridge. Those are kind of the sharp side, and then also centering is fairly off. I mean, I'm not really that much into centering too much, but this one's a little excessive as far as that. Try to just loosen, tighten but that's going to be the one that we have here. So we didn't take it apart because these are just still going out to other folks and checking it out. But there's just a lot of those things within this model that are just a little bit out of character, especially for pricing like this. $280 for this model. It's a little bit more than I would like to spend on it, but $280. So $280 for me. $280, you're pretty much going to be the, I feel it's kind of the point of diminishing return at about $250. It should be pretty spot on for what needs to be done. S90, of course, is going to be a little bit more expensive on some of the models. It is just, initially this is the one that I liked the most just from the look. It felt like it was everything that was really put together well. You might not like the profile of it because it does stick up a little bit. But that's where you're going to have that hiding place for the flipper tab. So that's going to be a place where you can just, when it's open up, it's a guard, and also the flipper tab block. That's what you have for that one. And then the Scaphoid is the one that and that's where it's like they know how to do it, because this one just, I feel, just maybe missed on some of those things, but this one has a lot of sharp edges to it. This one is actually very well done. And then there's even, so this one I feel is very well done. The same parts that I said were sharp on the previous model are actually chamfered on this model. So that's where you're going to have different things. And even for this grind, that's actually a pretty nice compound. So it's going to be hard to get that lined up sometimes, but that's pretty well on point for that side. And then also on this side, so you have some variance to it, as you see there, but it's not going to be that drastic. But even for this one, as far as that area that I was speaking of, this is actually chamfered. So the other one was not. This one is chamfered for that area. Even also on these lock bar reliefs, this one's chamfered. Just like anything with all the inserts, I feel that some of that is a little bit difficult because you're not going to get super even. You can still feel the transition between the two materials. It's not going to be one that doesn't feel like one piece of material. You are going to have those raises and lowers for those sections. But overall, I mean, it's a good size, good setup for it. There's even, as far as the detent ramp, that's one thing that I also like about, I think it was this, maybe it was this one. One of them was a little bit less. So this one, when I release it, I mean, it's still on my finger and it's not actually on the blade yet. So that's where we're going to have that one. And then this is where that's on the blade. So I don't know if you can see a difference on where that blade is in comparison. So we're trying to line up the pivot. So even the detent ball placement, so I would prefer to have it be more like the Caladan. So overall fit and finish of the Scaphoid I feel is better, but then just that one change would have also elevated it even more for this knife, as far as just getting that detent ball a little bit closer to the blade, so when you're releasing it, it doesn't hit your finger and possibly go back to a near lock position. So that's where I think that this one could improve on, just for that detent ball location. And then this one just has, at least on this model, just a fit and finish is not there, especially for $280. I don't feel that is, I think some of those things should have been taken care of at that price point. But that's where you're going to have sizing for this one in comparison to what's out there for like a benchmade knife. You also have other ones. You have the really standard guys from years ago, if anybody still has their Rat Model 2s. That one's the D2 variant. But this is going to be where, with Tontos, you're going to have a very good cutting edge for it. So you're basically going to have, and your cutting edge is going to be right there. So very easy to get to. You're going to have a little bit more angle for any type of spear point, drop point blade. You're going to be dropping it up quite a bit more to get into the boxes, and that's really where most people probably use their knives the most, is within those boxes. So those are the things that I see. So would I pick it up? So initially, looks wise, I did like the Caladan better, but overall I think this one is a better knife. Just by the looks of it, the profile, everything's really not tucked in really well, and then this one is just one that, of course, if you like the fixed blade and everything, then you just go with whatever you prefer. But if I just had to choose off of these two models, there's ones I maybe picked up in a store somewhere, I would choose this one over the Caladan. So there's some things about this one I like better, but overall, total completion wise, the Scaphoid is going to be the one to pick up. But let me know in the comments as far as any other questions you have for these guys. But I think it's really quite nice for the look of it. And then both of them work really well for how they deploy and how they retract. So the action is very good for these two models. But that's where I would probably just go with the Scaphoid. And still right-hand carry, no left-hand carry. And that's on both models. But let me know if you have anything else. But thank you very much also Dave Warren, also to Jim Skelton for the designs. But thank you very much, and I'll see you guys later.